County Public Works Authority to order. Item 2, consideration of possible action on accepting donation from Trinity Regional Development LLC.
I don't know if you guys want to switch 2 and 3 around, I don't know. There's a check that was brought to you.
That's a check for $30,000.
Why is it that we need to hire an attorney?
In order to be able to keep in compliance with the law as it's required. We've got to figure out the TIF district, how much income is going to be coming in, what's, yeah, basically projections.
Why are we gonna hire this guy for?
Don't have to hire.
Can we?
We did him on the last one.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
No.
Well, you know, that's been my whole problem all along, is that Trinity come to our commissioner meeting. I was into their little deal, I mean, I was against it, but the second go around, I changed my mind, we decided to send it to a review committee. Well, if a review committee is just looking at the possibility of having a TIF district, why do we need to have an attorney?
At this point?
I mean, I can see if that the review committee come back and say, yeah, we're gonna move forward with this, and then the commissioner said, yeah, we're gonna move forward, then I could see hiring an attorney. I just think we're jumping the gun. But I mean, that's just my opinion.
Well, the law is really specific as to all the hoops you have to go through in order to be able to set up a TIF district.
Well, I don't know about this TIF deal, but does it say you gotta have an attorney to do a review committee? You gotta have an attorney there to have a review committee? Cause we're not even sure what the project is.
True. And how
I'm sure they're gonna come in tomorrow and try to dazzle a carrot in front of everyone's nose about how great a project this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they often, I mean, that's
What
salesman issue.
my memory is, how much was that project projected to be?
They don't know.
How much the project amount that
The total cost of the project.
total cost of the project was like 12 million, including their infrastructure that they're building.
So he would get, if that was right.
He told me on the phone $8.5 million for county infrastructure, and then when he came into the meeting, he reduced it to $6 million, I guess, to try to entice us. But
that was my
honestly,
argument.
you don't know how much it's going to be, because you don't know how much the septic is going to be, the lagoon. You don't really, I mean, you can estimate these things, but you don't know what it's going to be.
Early. 9:45, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
9:45.
We're having a 9 o'clock meeting.
Okay, then I'll come in 9:45.
I mean, that was my whole deal, in that commission meeting, is why do you come to us wanting us to take this to review committee? I mean, that's like going to the bank, so I need to borrow some money, I just don't know how much money I need to borrow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't even have a plan. And they said, well, that's what the review committee's for, to come up with a plan.
Well,
I mean, his first plan, he wanted us to pave all this road inside this private land.
yeah, well, I understand. I mean, that's kind of standard operating procedure, I guess, in some of these cities and such, but they weren't aware, apparently, like Logan County requires, and so Logan County is requiring that what we're talking about being on easement only,
I
correct?
guess I really don't have a problem with accepting a donation if we have to have an attorney. But I don't know that we have to have an attorney to do a review committee. His comment was, well, I ain't gonna come up there and do all that until I'm paid. I don't know that I even wanna hire him. We was having a meeting with him one day, and he told me I couldn't even talk. Hell, it's our meeting, I can talk if I want to.
Right. Well, then what's your suggestion? We have the
Well,
first
Cynthia
being
told
the
me
tip
that-
and see if we can figure out all the legal entanglements, get up a plan, you know, all the lingo from maybe the last one we did, and be able to put all that lingo together, be able to work our way through it.
Well, do y'all not feel that we're jumping ahead of the game here? I mean, hiring an attorney before we even know if we're gonna do anything?
Yeah, we are doing something. We're doing a review committee.
Do you have to have an attorney to do a review committee?
We did on the last one. I don't really know if we have to have one by law.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
But I can tell you that if you don't go through all the bells and hoops on setting one up, well, now you don't have a good TIF district. It may not be a totally legal one. That's the reason why you have to have it reviewed. And you know, Lowell doesn't have the ability really to go through that and make certain that we go through all the hoops in order to be able to set one up or not. But, I mean, I'm not even in favor of his 6 million that he's talking about. I'm way lower than that. They're gonna have to figure out some other way of being able to get all those other funds. Like you said, they're gonna have to get real water to pony up. And honestly, I don't think they will. I honestly think this is an exercise in futility. I don't see the viability of the one we did. I can see that one. The viability of this one, my opinion is it's too problematic. I think it'll fail, but I don't know that until we go before a review committee, and until we go through, and if we don't have some kind of legal advice while going through that review committee, well then, you know, I just don't see that we'll be able to get all the bells and whistles on it that I'm envisioning. But yeah, believe me, I have no love for this 2K guy. Believe me. The man just doesn't have a clue, in my opinion. But
So what we gonna do here?
well, I mean, we can spend Trinity's money and, you know, basically, and get us the attorney that they are gonna pay for. We can do that. I mean, it's not like there's anything out of pocket on the county.
This bothers me.
What's this?
Page 3.
I haven't seen it.
It should be the same thing that was given to us last time.
Oh,
Well, last time we knew the cost. This time we don't, and it's variable.
the total cost?
Mhm.
Yes.
That,
Well, actually, they upped the total cost on that by including the Midwest project. All we were interested in was the sewer line. So we said we'd pay for a third of the estimated cost on that. In this instance, I'd say a third of the cost, perhaps 2/3, because I can see an argument on that, but a third of the cost of doing the water and sewer and street.
all right.
But
For your fixed fee of your $30,000,
yes,
he's gonna provide legal advice to and representation of the authority or entities related to or working in cooperation with the authority regarding the creation and maintenance of increment districts and incentive districts under the Oklahoma Local Development Act. And that's fine. So that goes with number 2,
right.
$30,000.
Well, then,
This one
Go ahead.
is paragraph number 1, which is legal advice to and representation of the authority in connection with the notes, bonds, and other forms of indebtedness previously issued or to be issued by the authority and entities related to or working with. So if it goes forward, if it stops, you're just $30,000 and it stops. If it goes forward, depending on the amount, 0 to 2 million, he gets 2% of the project. 2 million to 5 million, he gets 40,000 plus 1% of a portion over 2 million. If it's 5 to 10, he gets 70,000 plus 0.50% of the portion over 5 million. 10 million, he gets 95,000 plus 0.25% of the portion over 10 million.
okay.
That's a lot of money. See, that, we knew the cost of the other one. We knew what it
Yeah,
was gonna
because
be.
it was such a small project.
Don't we need the
Okay.
cost before we go
In-
spending that kind of money? And where does that money come from?
From the TIF district.
From the TIF district or from,
Well, that's Trinity,
Trinity.
say it ain't gonna cost nobody nothing.
yeah, well, from Trinity maybe, I don't know. It might be part of what we look at at a review committee.
Would you like to
But
look
we
at it?
also have to
You're gonna be
have,
dealing with it in 3 weeks.
we have some rhetoric that has to be done with making certain that this TIF district doesn't step on the toes of mercy. That's number one. That would be a lawyer to a lawyer situation.
Well, I can tell you what Pam Ringer said. Ain't that her name?
Karen
Ringer.
Reed.
Karen Rieger?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, I know what
Did
she
you get
said.
that
I got the
email?
email on it,
Sir?
Did you get the email from Karen Rieger?
On what?
on the TIF district,
I only emailed you guys.
on the, on the non-compete clause.
You know, it is attorney-client privilege.
Right, right. Do you have comments from citizens on your agenda for this meeting?
We don't.
Okay, then I'll hold.
I wish we did.
You
So-
only do it on the regular meeting.
Well, I am afraid of this. I'm afraid of this. I understand paragraph 1, paragraph 2, page 3, I get it.
Well, Cynthia called me the other day, said that we need to have a special meeting, and I told her I was against it, because I think we're putting the cart before the horse, but I don't know that.
Well, and then when I talked to him, he said, you know, that was gonna be his fee, the 30,000.
Right,
But
but
I
in
know.
Did you
this,
sign this contract?
but now that's the fee for the review committee.
This is, yeah, that is fee for, which one was it?
Right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is fee for page 4,
Right.
which says it's a
Legal
fixed
advice,
free agreement
Representation.
for whatever's being said in paragraph 2 of the scope of work, scope of services. So you come over here to paragraph 2, and so that's where he's just gonna give you some legal advice
Mhm.
according to the Development Act. Then you come over here to this page, page 3.
Mhm.
This goes to paragraph 1 of the scope of services, so.
This is only if a TIF district, if we decide to accept a TIF district, that he gets this kind of money. That's the reason why we don't know.
But you have to assume you're gonna have a TIF district. You might not, you probably won't, but part of making this plan is, would you really wanna spend that kind of money if one did happen to materialize? Without knowing how much money. I mean, we don't know, right?
Contingent.
Well, we don't know. I know what I visualize, as I stated.
Well, I can tell you, when I do a business deal on Monty's behalf,
Mhm.
I check prices, and
Yeah.
quite honest,
And
I
we
think
can-
30 grand is pretty expensive for some legal advice,
And it
for a
may be.
review committee.
It may be. I don't know why it was, what we did on the last one, why that would be. Is there more than one TIF attorney out there that we can access?
Sure.
And I do believe that in order to be able to set everything up, as Dan says, this is a very complicated TIF, unlike the other one. So, it is complicated. I feel a lot more comfortable having an attorney. I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and have our review committee tomorrow. And then let's see how these gentlemen are. They've had a lot of legal advice as well. And maybe they have access to another attorney that they might feel more comfortable with in forming a TIF.
Well,
if
on
that's
y'all's
what's
agenda
necessary.
tomorrow, is there any place on the agenda for a citizen designer to get heard?
I'll have to
I'm
look.
really,
If not, I mean, I think that ought to be on every agenda we ever have.
It's not.
yeah, that's a review.
It's not on there.
Spending Trinity's 30,000, to me, I understand that, but this
Right.
second part of this contract bothers me.
Right.
Once you sign on that dotted line, now you're in, if one goes through, you owe somebody money,
Right.
a lot.
That may be a factor in the review not going, I mean, in the district not being set up.
And was he considering project? That whole big dream they have that's gonna be multi-year, or?
You know, I think it would be what the TIF district entails. But, you know, we don't
25
have
years?
him here to say so.
25 years is what they've been talking about. So I don't know what a quarter cent of a
I think
portion
he
over
should
10
have been
million
here for
would-
that. If he wants to get hired for that, he should have been here for this.
That's a lot of money.
Well, I can tell you.
I thought everything had been
If I
basically
was
set
bidding on
up.
something, I'd have been there.
Yeah, no question.
How much is a quarter percent?
Of
Over $10
what?
million.
10 million? That's the, was it 10
$250,000.
million was the total project?
That's good money.
That's good.
10 million was the total.
We don't know.
No, wait a minute. Is it the project that we are, that we would be a part of, or is it the entire complex you're talking about?
I don't know.
Well,
That's
he
why
would
I'm-
know.
That's why I'm looking at the worst
He
case
would
scenario
know.
here.
He would know, and in my humble opinion, it is only that we are actually financing.
That's a pretty good retirement, man. You get 5 or 10 of them going.
Well, I'm sure he's doing well.
Well, I don't fault him.
Hey, I'm glad he's doing well, but I just don't know, I want him doing well off the taxpayers back here.
I think we
Well,
ought,
I understand where you're coming from.
Applause.
before we sign this, I think we ought to make sure where we're at here. Because once you sign that, $250,000 is a lot of money. That's gonna come out of,
Out of the tip.
You guys wanna,
No.
you want me to call him?
then
What
where's
are we
it coming
talking
from?
about? 40,000, is that an additional 40,000 plus 1%?
Well, it's gonna be 90,000 plus the 250,
90,000.
95,000.
95,000.
At worst case scenario.
Okay, I don't see but 95. Oh, worst case scenario. Oh, well, I tell you, that's,
Well, how do we know?
How do you know that?
There's been no review
I'll
committee.
tell you why.
That's why I
Because
say
this
hire an
commission,
attorney before.
these commissioners here aren't gonna go for no $10 million. That's why. At least I don't know for it. I can tell you what my vote would be, I think. That's my humble opinion. I'm not gonna go with $10 million or something like that. The 2 to 5 would be where I would be at.
We know.
And that's
on the first
1%
tip
on
district,
2 million.
I know this stuff ain't on the agenda, but
Oh,
the first tip
on the
district,
portion over
the city
2
of
million.
Guthrie is here, and, you know, they's wanting to be a partner in on the deal. I have yet to see Logan County Rural Water here. I'm kinda out until.
Well, and there's one of my reasons why I don't think that rural water isn't, I don't think they're gonna come up to the plate. Their newest member is this Kim over here, it's an RN over at Mercy. I think she's got a dog in the hunt.
So what we gonna do on item 2 here?
I'm not comfortable signing until we know how much.
Well, item 2 is the donation. You want
Oh,
to accept it?
well,
Would we pay it back if we
you'd have to.
if we didn't hire? Well, we would have to, wouldn't we? Is that a mechanism that can be set up, I guess? I guess it is.
Well, I say the best thing, don't accept it. If you don't plan on spending it, don't accept it.
It's up to
Well, we
you.
don't know if we're gonna spend it or not. And we thought maybe we would, at least to get the legal advice.
Yeah. So, can we skip down to item 3 and discuss it, and then go back to item 2?
We've kind of been doing both,
Well, I know.
because they go hand in hand.
Because I'm definitely against number 3, until we know some facts.
Okay.
I think,
Well, then there's no reason to accept the check yet.
I think if you're gonna do something like this, this ought to be broken out, the 2 different fee structures, and until you know the cost of the project, because we don't know the cost of the project.
Then we won't know the cost of the project until the cost of the project actually is engineered and put into place.
So
And that
you
requires
have to look at
money.
worst case
That
scenario.
requires money.
Right.
So where are you gonna get the money for that from? You have to have a TIF district. You have to have it set up before you can do the engineering and get the exact cost and everything.
Or rather than marrying this guy for 25 years, worst case scenario, Well, I mean, if
His contract ought to read, I'm going,
right.
if this pursues on to be a TIF district, I'm gonna charge you this much.
Well, that's
To do
kind of
all
what he
this.
said.
That's what I thought was there.
It is, but I'd rather see it be two separate ones in
Two
case.
separate
Items.
contracts. All rolled up into sign this contract.
Plus, he can get any reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses
Yes.
And where's he at?
in connection with the project. So if this goes on for
Down the
25
city,
years,
I think.
that could be a lot of lunches.
Altus.
Out
See how that was? Okay. I don't know.
This letterhead says Oklahoma City, but
He's got offices all over this part of the world.
Well, I'm sure he does. I mean, how much is an office for an attorney? Not much. Well,
I would rather see this split up. I think I would not have an issue with taking the 30,000 from Trinity as a donation to work on the review committee and set up a TIF district if that's where we are. I do have a problem with this other part, that if one does get set up, now you owe me a bunch of money for who knows how much and how long.
got it.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of money, man.
So you gonna make a motion on number 2?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Accept the check from Trinity for the purposes of hiring a lawyer for the review committee for legal advice, whatever.
Legal advice and representation of the authority,
Yes,
working in cooperation
yeah.
for the
That-
creation and maintenance of an increment district or incentive district is what he has on his scope of work, so
Right.
scope of services, yeah.
I make the motion that we accept the $30,000 specifically for these services that's in that paragraph.
Now, if he doesn't, or another lawyer won't break out that contract into two separate pieces, what happens to that money? I mean,
I assume we have to,
well, I think,
so that needs to be in the motion as well.
yeah, the money will be returned.
And the money would be returned to Trinity if no lawyer is, what do you call it, is hired or whatever. Is,
Ascertain.
sorry?
Ascertain.
Nah, that's not the
Oh,
word.
okay.
Not the one I'm looking for. But that's all right. Hired is,
There's a second.
I'll second that, but I bet you return it. Y'all might call Karen Reeder. Their firm probably does that. But I have.
I think
a
they have
real problem
somebody
with
there
it.
who's familiar with them, but I don't think they've ever actually done one. But for $30,000, he might all of a sudden decide he wants to become an expert, whoever he is.
Well, they might not want the full 30. Someone might want to do it for 10.
I'm all for competition.
All right, we'll need it.
All for competition, you bet. Let's
Would you
start
like a
marketing.
copy of this stuff, Marvin?
Sure.
Like I said, this is going to go over.
Okay.
So what are we doing number?
Number 3 is
All right, all in favor of number 2?
aye.
Aye.
Second.
All
No,
opposed?
he's
Nay.
all right. Number
Aye.
3.
I don't know.
Table.
Consideration of possible action approving legal service agreement with McMahon and Vernon PC.
Let's just do no action to that table.
No action.
Yeah.
No action, fine.
No action?
And no action. Item 4 is consideration of possible action on approving meeting dates for 2015.
They are at 8:30 for every 15th or whatever business day falls on, along with the commissioners.
Make motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded that?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that one too.
Aye.
Aye. Would you please make Marvin a copy of that and that email from Karen.